The mansion tax in LA goes into effect this weekend, and sellers of luxury properties are scrambling to sell their homes. The seller of this famous house just dropped his price to $38 million. But here's what's crazy. That's $10 million less than what he was originally listed at, and $6 million less than this guy paid for the house. The seller of this house updated their cover photo to show these 4 supercars. Here's why. They're saying that if you buy their house prior to April 1st, they'll give you one of those 4 cars for free.
Oh, for free, the drama that's going down around rich folks in Los Angeles now scurrying to sell their houses. If it's $5 million at least, they're upset about this new wealth tax, or at least this tax for what they're calling a mansion tax. So anyone selling their homes, they could get this higher tax rate. But by the way, where that money will go is to affordable housing. That's a problem. Let's watch more.
Tax called Measure ULA imposes an added fee for sellers of homes over $5 million in LA, Shauna.
Well, there's a tax of 4% for those properties that are selling for $5 to $10 million, and a 5.5% tax on homes over $10 million. Well, that tax money, that's going to fund affordable housing projects and also provide resources to tenants at risk of homelessness. This is an additional tax on top of a base rate, and all LA residents right now who are selling homes, they pay a base tax rate of nearly 0.5%. So if you sell a $10 million home in LA after April 1st, you are going to have to cough up nearly $600,000 in taxes.
And to avoid that, people are trying to get their houses that are worth $1.5 million sold. They're even changing prices and all that. Josh Altman of $1 Million Listing went on Fox News to complain about it because, you know, this is part of his business. And he also complained, people talking about this mansion tax. He goes, $5 million in LA, that's like nothing, bro. I think that's a different problem. If that means $5 million for a house in LA is nothing, that means we have a housing price problem here. This is what he said. People who voted who said, oh, I don't have a $5 million house, which, by the way, is not a mansion in LA. We're talking about a 4-bedroom, 4,000 square foot house in Los Angeles. He said it's $5 million. So this can't be a mansion tax. He says this isn't a 30, 40, $50 million house tax. These are regular people that work bill to bill. I'm going to say it again. He says these are regular people that work bill to bill and have to pay their mortgage just like everybody else. And now they're being penalized here. So you know what I did, Burbank? I looked up what these folks that live bill to bill, paycheck to paycheck, that have a $5 million house that just maybe might be paying. This is just a general thing I looked up on Redfin, a $5 million house, home in Los Angeles, which, by the way, depending on where it is, I think this one I saw was in Palos Verdes, very nice part of town. It wasn't a huge house, but it's big enough. This was the monthly cost for that mortgage, $32,611. So all you folks out there living paycheck to paycheck, I know you're scrounging to get your $32,611 together every month before you pay your mortgage. Because according to this guy and everyone else who's complaining about this tax, that's just regular folks living paycheck to paycheck just to get by on McDonald's salary to have your $5 million
home. Let's think for a second about what someone who has a house worth this has in wealth, not just their income, their salary, because a lot of these people have a ton of money saved up. We know that 1 in 4 of the dollars in the United States is in the hands of someone with a net worth of $30 million or more. They got off easy with a 4 to 6% tax on their property in California. We could be taxing these people's wealth and use that revenue to have better schools, better bridges, transition to renewable energy. We could use it to build affordable housing and provide for people who are getting gentrified out of California cities, a rent-to-own situation, or help people actually have real mortgages and own something and not be throwing their money to these investors who are landlords. It just doesn't make any sense that they're complaining about a policy that is the bare minimum and calling someone living in a $5 million home a regular person. Do you think a regular person in the United States makes the kind of money to support that kind of a purchase? If you ask any banker, would you give someone working minimum wage in California a loan, a mortgage for a $5 million home? The bankers will look at you like you are insane. But should a regular person in America be able to live in a 4-bedroom house and raise their kids in it? Absolutely. And that's not the America we live in. And that is why we have to redistribute the wealth that some people are hoarding terribly. So the fact that he's upset about this is hilarious and shows how disconnected he is.
Anyone that's upset about the redistribution of wealth should be upset for the past however many decades, because it has been getting redistributed very effectively. And the folks that have been redistributed to, they've got all this cash. By the way, if you can unload a $5 million home as soon as possible before this tax kicks in, that means you probably don't live in it all the time. I mean, if you have a home and you got to hurry up and sell it, you probably got to move somewhere else. But if you're just thinking, oh, we'll take 10 million off just so I can sell this place, or 5 million, however off you're trying to sell it for, it probably means that you're okay losing it because you have multiple homes. Oh, but you know, you're living paycheck to paycheck for that $32,000 mortgage. I'm going to say it again, $32,000.